Hello everyone and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today we're huddled indoors in warm clothing because the first few days of summer have actually been full of rain, wind, and pretty cold weather. But no complaints from yours truly because I get to sit down to watch Mr. Yo playing as the Georgians in red take on Hera playing as the Khmer or Khmer in blue. Now all the players herd their herdables, explore their immediate surroundings, and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP. Not a bad opportunity for us to take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today. Now, the Georgians, who are currently busy pulling elephants, are a cavalry-centric civilization with some pretty powerful economic features. To start with, all of their mounted units automatically regenerate HP, can be upgraded to take up 15% less population space. Both of these features, by the way, help them mask their unique unit, the Manaspa, a heavily armored cavalry unit whose attack actually increases when there are other Manaspas or Nightline units in the vicinity. Now, in addition, like the Tatars, very, very important for the Georgians to take this, or maybe this. If you're wondering what the hell I'm referring to, I am referring to the high ground, since all Georgian units units and buildings take 40% less damage when they fight downhill compared to the usual 25. Now, to help the Georgians build as big and powerful an army as possible, they do start the game, as we saw, with a free mule cart, which has given Mr. Yo an opportunity to do some extra scouting. Their fortified churches increase the work rate of their villagers by 10% within an 8-tile radius, and their settlements can be much harder to raid since they do pay 25% less resources to repair buildings, and their defensive structures, which by the way includes their town centers, can be upgraded to get a +2 attack boost, and their towers can be upgraded to deal pass-through damage. Mr. Yo, it's going to be a perfect pull. Oh, the elephant's closing so close. She does take a bit of a poke, and down goes the big boy. In any event, the Khmer, a civilization that focuses on some of the heaviest hitting units in the game. Their scorpions have extra range, can be upgraded to shoot a second bolt. Their battle elephants move 10% faster and can be upgraded to hit even harder with a +3 attack. And their unique unit is quite possibly one of the most annoying units in the game to deal with head on. I am referring to the Ballista Elephant, which is an elephant unit with a ballista mounted on its back, which, by the way, like the Scorpion, can be upgraded to shoot a second bolt. Now, in order to take advantage of their super powerful military units, the Khmer do have to get to Castle Age and Imperial ASAP with a lot of food in the bank. And to do this, they get some of the craziest features in the game. To start with, as the Khmer, if you take a look at the top of your screen where my mouse is underneath the Roman numeral I, or 1, you'll notice there are no 2 structures like the Georgian has. That's because the Khmer don't need any structures to go up to the next stage. As long as you've got the resources, you can click up at any time. And second, once you're in whatever age you're in, Dark Age, Feudal, Castle, Imperial, doesn't really matter. All buildings are available to you. There is no such thing as a prerequisite. And so Hera does not need to plop down, for example, a blacksmith to get a siege workshop. He doesn't even need to plop down a barracks in order to get a stable if he wants. And last but not least, the Khmer farmer. Khmer farmer does not need to drop off any food at a town center or a mill as long as he's working or she is working on the farm. Take a look at the top of your screen, 153, 154, 155. Food just keeps getting added more and more and more unit by unit to the bankroll of the Khmer, which basically means that Hera, if he wanted to, could, let's turn it into universal vision here. Yeah, if he wanted to, he could clear out this forest and put a farm literally right here if he wanted to. Actually, he doesn't even need to clear out the forest. I think it can fit in there. That is a super cool feature of the Khmer, but we're not done with their super cool wonky features. They are also, like the Georgians, a little bit harder to raid compared to the usual civilization. Why? Because they can actually hide villagers inside their houses. And once the danger passes, those villagers can come out of the houses and get back to work and get back to being productive, good farmers and lumberjacks and gold miners and quarry workers and berry pickers and everything else that you need in order to build up your military industrial complex. Let's take a look, speaking of military industrial complex, of where the resources are that are going to be used to create and pay for all that military. For our Georgian, primary gold exposed to the front, primary stone nice and safe to the back. 3 forests fairly far away from the town center, but in a decent kind of protective edge, protective bowl shape here. The flanks are not super hard to wall off here, especially for a player like Mr. Yo, who never shies away from massive amounts of wall offs. As additional gold, both of them secure to the top left of his base, as is a relic and an extra pair of forests. Hera woke up and chose violence today, deciding to kill one of these goats. I don't know if the town center killed the goat or if the scout killed the goat there. Might have to go back for instant replay. Either way, 200 food just absolutely taken from the very mouths of these hungry villagers that are busy working the lumber line. By the way, the additional stone for our Georgian annoyingly placed very far off campus now. Why is that annoying? Because generally the lure of the Manaspa for the Georgians is quite strong. Doesn't really matter what your opponent builds. We generally see the Georgians go Manaspas. And so Manaspas can only be trained out of a castle. They're not exactly like the Huns or the Goths that can train their unique unit out of a simple structure like the stables or the barracks. And therefore stone might be an issue here for Mysterio, although, like I said, primary stone nice and secure to the back. Let's take a look at Hera's base while Mysterio now seeks revenge for the 2 dead goats. And look at that, villagers inside the house. Now, the one caveat about that is they don't regenerate HP like they would inside a town center, for example. So, uh-oh. Pop him in, pop him out. Shenanigans already abounding here. Even though technically the kill count is 0-0. I don't expect Mysterio to get much done here with Hera popping in. And that's why, by the way, you see houses all over the place next to the resource patches, because they can pop them out. And believe me, in Feudal Age and in late Dark Age, early to mid Feudal, even in early Castle Age, those villagers are pretty safe. Not very many heavy hitting units at this stage of the game. By the way, first kill going to Hera as an overextended scout tries to run north and dies, pays for it. And now Monsieur is just trying to get Hera to garrison his villagers. Let's take a very quick look. Primary gold, off the beaten path, but still kind of exposed. Primary stone and additional gold, very exposed to the front. Our Khmer, by the way, has not taken his elephants. Interesting. Okay. Additional gold, rather, and additional stone to the rear position. Forests, not in a very helpful placement here, whereas Mysterio has at least 2 anchoring here where you can use them to build a wall off. This is pretty much very open here for our Khmer, who is continuing to get pressed into and continuing to train scouts. I shudder to think at the number of hussars, if this game goes into the late stages, that we are going to get to see out of Hera. Hera loves his hussars. And a civilization where villagers do not have to drop off food, and therefore the food count, if you take a look at the top right of your screen where the mouse is, oh my goodness, it is going up, 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 up. But Mysterio has managed to get a villager kill and 2 scouts in exchange for 1 spearman. So he takes the kill lead, 2 military to 2, but 1 extra villager kill. So 3 kills to 2 on the whole. And things are heating up here at the 13-14 minute mark on Arabia as the players plop down more infrastructure. A blacksmith. Again, if you're wondering how the hell did Blue build a stable without any barracks, remember, this is the Khmer feature. Super cool feature of that civilization. Like I said, some of the wonkiest. The Burgundians and the Khmer, in my opinion, 2 of the wonkiest bonuses and features in the game. Speaking of, Mysterio, like I said, never shying away from a wall off, has, oh, interesting, not using the forest here to wall this off. So leaving this additional gold outside of the settlement. We'll see if that works to his benefit or not. Forging being researched for our Khmer because he is going heavy on the melee cavalry, and so wants to do a little bit of damage, maybe kill these spearmen a little bit quicker before they can counter those scout units. But this is a pretty scary army out of Mysterio. The 2 spearmen basically ensure. Now there's another dot moving forward. Okay, I thought maybe another spearman, but no, it's just a scout. So Hera's picking off reinforcements. Good get there. Fantastic placement of the scouts right on the line of reinforcement. So he knows exactly how his opponent is getting his units there, and he snipes one of them. Is he going to go after the 2 scouts? Is he going to go after these 6? Like I said, Mysterio has a pretty scary army, but now he's carved it up into 2 groups, which means it's a little bit more susceptible, or maybe it's all just a trap. Maybe he wants Hera to attack into one of these. They're far, but not that far from one another. Again, is this some kind of new meta for the Khmer? Not taking your elephants? I mean, this is 800 food that Mysterio isn't gathering right now for free, basically. And these farms are fantastic, but they still do cost wood. Not exactly Teutonic farms. Mysterio gets another villager snipe. By the way, he sees all of these farms. He sees that these elephants have been left alone. And again, I wonder, is this some kind of new Khmer build? Very curious. What's the expression? Curiouser and curiouser? Nonsensical expressions. Players disengage. Decent opportunity for us to see what's going on. Of course, a whole bunch of houses. Hera is going up to even more population space now. As Mr. Yo. Okay. Disengaged for about a third of a second. Hera sent his army across the map. Yeah, Hera has explored. So he has seen a little bit of infrastructure. Hasn't seen the wall officer at all. But not really super relevant right now, your opponent's wall off, when he is the one pressing into you. And so he says, you know what? I know you can run away into your house. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set the house on fire. And these two spearmen. I mean, Mr. Yo might want to add a few more spearmen here. This is starting to become a bit of a big army here for our Khmer, who has the resources to go up to castle and just clicked it. Mr. Yo, a few seconds ahead, will hit the next age, about 45 seconds out of his opponent. Look at Hera trying to lure these spearmen into this area so that the town center can attack them. Brilliant games out of mind games and positioning and movement out of both players so far. 20-minute mark of the game, we've only got 7 kills. Not exactly Empire Wars, where at this stage we'll be probably sitting on, what, 60, 70 kills? Mr. Yo disengages yet again. So he's just circling. What's the name of the game here for Mr. Yo? Is he going to go light cavalry? By the way, take a look at the bottom left of your screen now. Oh, I don't know why that happened. 438. Let's see it go up. 439 any second now. 439. There it is. So the Georgians were tinkered with a little bit after they first came out. It used to be 5, 10, 15 HP in Feudal, Castle, Imperial. Then they changed it to a flat 15%. That confused the shit out of people. Nobody knew what the hell the numbers were. I mean, well, I honestly can't even tell you what the 15% of 520 would be. Well, I guess I could. 52 and 26 is not that hard to add, but the developers, I guess, figured it's way too confusing, so they shifted it back. We're back to 5, 10, and 15 HP in Feudal Castle and in Imperial, and Hera sacrifices a scout, but does ultimately get rid of the one big deterrent here. And now he's going to be free to rather engage, but Mr. Yo, in 13 seconds, will have the much better unit. And in 20 seconds, he'll not only have the better unit, but the faster unit as well. And now Mr. Yo's going to be looking for a fight. He still has these 8 units. Their HP has jumped up to 640 now. A 10th one comes along. And now I think he could probably take this fight. And he probably should try to take this fight. Actually, HP-wise, he's not down too much, but his unit is much better stats-wise. 8 attack to 6. I guess that's really basically it. Hera, though, has waited a good amount of time, and now his scouts are light cav as well. Now Mr. Yo's basically had an opportunity. The opportunity's gone, but look at this. He's back to the south with a bit of a heavier hitting unit. Remember, behind all this, Mr. Yo has been unharassed the entire game. So let's take a very quick look as the cavalry leads Hera on a chase over here as well. He's trying to lure him into some knights. Hera sees the knights, immediately backs away. So let's take a very quick look. Remember, any villagers within an 8-tile radius of this fortified church work 10% faster. They're 10% more effective, and so these gold miners, these farmers, and the misleading thing about the fortified church is that squircle around it, this red line, that's not the 8-tile, that's the 6-tile attack radius. So you have to add 2 more tiles to that. That is a massive radius. And Hera traps these 2 light cav. Let's see if they can get anything done before they ultimately do die. Looks like they might get a villager. No, they don't. They both die. A big engagement here in front of Hera's base as Mr. Yo adds a 3rd town center. But now Hera's numbers are the superior factor here. Hera just basically got more stuff. Fancy way of saying that. HP is more than double of Mr. Yo's army. And so Mr. Yo has to get the hell out of here. He's also taking an engagement to the rear. There is a red dot in this forest here. What are you? You are just a knight who, I guess, got lost on the way to the battlefield. Monsieur disengages to the back. Hera disengages to the front of Mr. Yo's base. So we're seeing knights taking on knights. Light cav taking on light cav. And let's see. 53 villagers for our Georgian off of the back of 3 town centers. Hera's just going full on 1 town center aggro. Let's see what he can get accomplished here. He's down a huge amount of villagers, about 25-30% bigger economy here for our Georgian, who's now using his monk to try to shoo this away. Hera not responding. Monsieur did manage to get 1 conversion, it looks like. But that converted light cav dies immediately. Look at Mr. Yo's light cav trying to reach that monk, failing miserably. Not even getting 1 shot off at it. And where is that knight? Okay, he thinks he's a Frankish knight with extra line of sight. No, you're just a basic knight, and you're fighting from downhill. So you're dead? Yeah, look at that. Even though the HP, I think, on the red knight was better at the beginning of the engagement, there's your elevation bonus in play. Hera's really trying to bust into the forward position of this base. Does he not know that there's weaker palisades here on the flanks that he can try to bust into? He's trying to take down a 1800 HP structure with 2 armor. Another conversion. The converted unit dies again, but now there's a secondary wall. And this is what happens when you get pressed into with melee. It's not that scary if you can just wall behind this. A few archers, a few skirmishers behind that would have definitely helped keep those monks and villagers away. But without that kind of ranged support, this is what happens. Yeah, he lost a stable. Big whoop. But the villagers are safe. Get back to mining gold. And now he's going after the juicier market. But this market has more HP than the stable he just attacked. And Mr. Yo's offensive capabilities are now absolutely in shambles as the last knight chases into the elephant. Blocked him. Did the elephant just block the maneuvering of the knights inadvertently? Fantastic. What a weird bonkers game. Look at Hera's army count. This is all off of 1 town center. I say that immediately he plops down a second. Okay. 1 player has a 25 villager lead. 1 player has a 25 army lead. That being said, it is yet again a melee army, and it is light cavalry 20 out of this 29 army count. He does see the castle though, so now he's going to have to be very weary of any kind of manaspas. And when you are going light cavalry, your opponent can just turtle up, but now Hera's doing what he should have done maybe 4 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago. A little bit of attack over here, a little bit of attack over here. The market is down, which means no more balancing of the economy for Mr. Yo, as his base is now getting triple teamed. This is light cav on the left, knights on the right, and a couple of lazy light cav here in the front. So Hera, seeing that Mr. Yo is turtling up, says, you know what, I'm not going to get the critical damage that I wanted done with light cavalry units, so I might as well add a 3rd town center of my own. The problem with that kind of play is that he's already down almost 30 villagers. 28 villagers down. Mr. Yo has more than a 50% bigger economy. That being said, there's not a lot of resources left here in Mr. Yo's base. Do you see lumber anywhere? No. Not that he really needs it as the Georgians, to be fair. But his stone is running out. These 3 patches have 400 stone left, so enough for 1 more castle. And he's opening the front door. He's opening the front door for the Khmer. The Khmer doesn't notice. Backs away. He does see the flags on the castle. Now, we recently saw a game with Mr. Yo and Hera. I forget the name of the map. The one that looks like a big piece of focaccia bread. Where Mr. Yo didn't quite get the composition of the Manaspas right. You need 7 additional Manaspas to your individual one to get the +1 attack. And so right now with forging, these guys are just sitting at a +1. So he actually needs 3 more Manaspas. 8, 15, 22, and 29 will give you 1, 2, 3, 4 extra attack. But it's within a 15 tile radius. So this Manaspa is definitely going to be helping out with these guys, because this is a pretty much 15 tiles, I would say. 2 castles are up. Mr. Yo's got 10 villagers on stone. About to become 0 villagers on stone. 18 of them were getting stone. Remember, at the 10% faster gathering rate as well. And Hera is just gone full bonko army count, 32 cavalry units. Well, I should say 29 and 3 monks. He's also, by the way, going up to Imperial, and he's going to hit it light years ahead of our Georgian, who I saw plop down a 4th town center. So even though Mr. Yo is now ahead 35 villagers, 50% bigger economy still, he's ahead 35 villagers. I don't know. Hera's going to be an Imperial. He's going to be nowhere close to Imperial. The space for him to build his settlement is starting to kind of get cramped here. And Hera's gone light cav, which means he's going to be super mobile, and he sees the monk, in the middle of microing 3 different army groups. He sees the monk and guns the monk down. I mean, army group, 4 army groups, including the one that was sniping the monk. But now the Manaspas are out in force, 24 of them. That's pretty good. He's getting devotion as well. Does not want to give any of these Manaspas to Hera. He is going to covet and hold on to them greedily like Gollum. My precious Manaspas, says Mr. Yo as he, yet again, 4 here, a couple here, a couple here. You got to clump these units together. 9 of them will give you an extra attack, which is why they're at a +2 with forging. Hera, for his part, illumination and theocracy. So he is going full tilt on trying to convert this army and making it his own. We'll see who at the end gets the precious ring of power known as the Manaspa. And like I said with the Georgians, despite the fact that they have pretty cool options, their siege is decent, their infantry line is decent. Actually, their infantry line is pristine if I'm thinking about it. Generally, everyone goes Manaspas. It's so hard to resist the lure. It's like, imagine if Lechai came with +4 attack for free. All you needed to do was build some units, and you didn't have to go and get relics out on the map. Everyone would be building Lechai. That is the lure of the Manaspa, which takes this fight. And by the way, even though its HP is pretty not great, it is in fact a very tanky armored unit. It moves faster. Not than this light cab, but it moves faster than these Cavaliers, which our Khmer now has. And it also attacks on a ridiculous potential, I believe. Maxed out is 22 if it's elite. Mr. Yo, look at his resources, 1,700 gold. Is he just going to buy the food to go up to Imperial Age? Or is he just happy at the moment? I mean, he's got his army count up, and Hera has not done the critical damage that he needs to compensate for his weaker economy. I mean, he's only down 33 villagers now compared to 35 a little while ago. But army composition to army composition, Mr. Yo's army is going to take this any day of the week. Hera's sitting at a +2/+2. The Manaspas sitting at a +3. How many are there here? 16. Okay, so forging adds 1, and then the additional 7 and 7. Which I believe is the name of drink, right? A 7 and 7? Or am I thinking of something else? I think it's a 7 and 7. In any event, it is Mr. Yo, who just bought 500 food for 660 gold, who is going up to Imperial. So he's going to catch up. Perhaps thinking that the Manaspa feature where they can take down town centers super duper quickly still exists, but no, and now they're just getting slaughtered. To the left, but to the right, semi-slaughtered? Town center, they have to get out of here, even though their armor is pretty good. I'm really curious to see if Mr. Yo shows us elite Manaspas. And like I said, this is not a unit that you should be clumping in small groups. You need a big clump if you want to get the full power of this unit. And by the way, why is he taking this engagement? Look at his HP. Oh, but he is on the high ground, so he does take, remember, 40% less damage from units on the low ground, but loses a Manaspa to a conversion. And ultimately loses his entire offensive force here to the rear of the Khmer settlement. And now our Khmer is striking out. It says, you know what, enough's enough. I've got my 4th town center up as well. I'm going to start catching up in villager count. Hera's finally in the triple digits. He's at 103 villagers. His army count is still double his opponent, but 10 of that is light cavalry. 7 of that is monks, though. And oh, yeah. I mentioned their infantry line. We are seeing squires. We are seeing scale mail armor. We are seeing pikemen. And Hera's going to have a bit of an issue dealing with this. Usually at this stage, this is exactly what I expect out of Hera. 4 kills for this light cavalry. Looks like the town center might actually... maybe not. Oh, we'll keep an eye on that one very optimistic light cavalry unit. I'm number one surprised that Hera does not have hussars at this point. Although he is focused on quantity, it seems like, versus quality at the moment. Although I say that, he's got, in 48 seconds, his cavalry is going to be fully upgraded. But he also has converted 4 Manaspas. Okay. There you go. But I'm interested that in why Hera is not going hussars. Like I said in the beginning of the game, Hera plus any hussar spammy kind of civilization equals lots and lots of run-bys. And so it kind of looks like that's what's happening. These Manaspas are... Mysterio again overstaying his welcome a whole lot here. Light cavalry. Oh, the forest is gone, and now the base is open, and it's also been cracked in on the right side as well. There is all of a sudden a massive incursion. Hera's supply capped, population capped at 170 for a few seconds, is seeking to even out the villager, and for the first time in 44 minutes, he actually takes the villager lead. 120 to 107. But it looks like Mysterio's also meeting out some Georgian justice in the rear of Hera's base. And this is exactly what I was expecting out of Hera. Right as I was talking a big game, big shit about how Hera's not raiding enough, he turns around and absolutely, look at the villager kill lead now. 49 kills to 26, and he is not done. Positions in the front. Let's take a quick look, because I heard the twangy sound of a trebuchet. 3 trebs for blue, 3 trebs for red, although one has yet to unfurl those big rocky balls of his. And now halberdiers. Remember that, like I said, the Georgians, their infantry line is pretty much pristine. So these halberdiers are going to avail themselves of every single upgrade available to them in the game. Might want to start helping your villagers out instead of just sitting and watching the massacre happen here. And it looks like a joint force of Manaspas and halberdiers have cleared out all of the blue trebs. And you are not a Georgian castle. And so you take full damage, although you are on the high ground, so you take 25 less damage compared to the 40 that this castle would have been taking. And look at that, all of a sudden, raids to the rear of red have been stopped, raids to the rear of blue have been stopped. And let's see how it all shook out. Hera, 77 villager kills to 31. Mr. Yo has been knocked down. He is now down 40 villagers. Sorry, I didn't mean to scream into the microphone. 40 villagers. He was ahead 35 villagers literally 10 minutes ago. Now he's down 40, and the 77 villager kills basically is the mathematics behind that. The problem still for Hera is that now there is a lot of pike, a lot of long pointy sticks with various names. A spear, a pike, a halberd, a poleaxe. Basically a long ass stick designed to keep you and your horse away from me. Is what Mr. Yo is doing. And what is Hera doing to respond? He is adding more monks and heavy cavaliers. Okay. Treb gets caught out here by Hera. Perfect snipe there for the Treb. Looks like he's also converting the halberdiers, which he's now using to try to attack the Trebs. But Georgian castle, I believe, on the high ground. This looks like a higher ground than the Trebs, right? Like I said, take 40% less damage than they should. Hera is maybe busy microing that little blob of red to the rear of his base, but he is engaging into pikemen a lot. Halberdiers, pikemen, spearmen. You guys know what I mean when I say these things. Oh no. This is not a battle that shapes out well for Hera no matter who wins it. It doesn't matter if you win it or lose it, but this is a lot of dead cavaliers. Was Mr. Yo... Did Mr. Yo somehow manage to distract Hera here to the back long enough to charge right into that? That was absolutely an atrocious battle. And now Mr. Yo pulls the reverse Uno. He says, I'm going to be the one with triple the army count and fewer villagers, but he is also back up to triple digits. And now Hera's absconding. Hera's running away. He's given up the castle in the center position, and down it goes. Oh man, is there anything more pretty than a castle collapse animation in Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition? I could think of a few things, but in the video game world, probably not. It is just an absolute beautiful, beautiful animation. Speaking of beautiful, Mr. Yo, you might want to move your army forward. Now you're only ahead twice the army count, and now you are pretty much all Halb. Manaspa. Oh my god, I was going to make a joke about Mr. Yo being all Shaft because of these halberdiers. Oh, Hera looked like he wanted to go around the forest here. I love this sound. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm focusing on the most nonsensical things here. By the way, Hera's response looks like it's going to be skirmishers, and there's the Hussar 51 minutes into the game. Skirmishers will come with a decent attack bonus against halberdiers, so Hera has a chance here. Mysterio, by the way, sees it and immediately starts taking away the military industrial infrastructure, but Hera already has 2 additional ones, and I don't think Mysterio saw this one. No, he did see this one. So Mysterio knows that he's getting 2 out of 5. What he doesn't realize is he's actually getting 2 out of 7. Because these 2 archery range, although I would love if Hera would build them with more than 1 villager. Get them up a little bit quicker. And now we've entered into the trash phase of the game. One player does have a few more Cavaliers, though, and he's going to get Chemistry and Bracer as well. So his skirmishers are going to be doing quite a lot of damage to these halberdiers, but let's see it. Nobody really has... What? No, I thought we were going to get to see a big battle here, but I mean 12 Manaspas to 10 Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are... Actually, I don't even know if they're better upgraded than the Manaspas. The Manaspas do have Blast Furnace. They are missing the last armor upgrade. But let's see who would actually win in a 1v1. By the way, the game is actually over, so I a little bit surprised that Hera didn't engage into the battle here. The skirmishers could have zoned out the spearmen, but I mean Hera, I get why he GG'd. He's yet again he's down villagers. Actually just 1 villager, but he has no answer to this. Mysterio's just going to surround these last 2. Where's the third one? There's a third Treb somewhere out on the map. It is evading my eyeballs right now. Where are you? There you are. The hell are you doing all the way up here? Okay, it is what it is. But Hera does not have any way to deal with these trebuchets. And again, I'm really curious to see. 1 attacks on a 17 against 5 armor is 12 damage. 140 divided by 12 is basically what, 12 attacks needed to kill a Cavalier, whereas the Cavalier attacks on a 16 against 5 armor as well. So again, that last armor upgrade of plate barding armor coming in a little bit too late. But 16 minus 5 is 11, and 95 divided by 11 is a lot lower than 12. It's what, 9 basically attacks needed. And so the Cavalier does attack, I believe, a little bit slower, 1.8. No, they actually attack the same. I think the Paladin jumps up to 1.9 if I'm not mistaken. But the Cavalier here, the better unit. And so, again, I'm a little bit surprised that Hera didn't take the central engagement. But to be fair, his infrastructure is getting destroyed. And now he's in a real tough pickle. He's adding 3 more archery ranges. The problem for him, he is running out of wood. This area, at least the ability to generate wood, this area is under attack. Mysterio knows about this area as well. He's been raiding here for the last 20 minutes. Could a Hera have stuck around a little bit longer? Sure. Absolutely. But once these Cavaliers go, and Mysterio probably in 28 seconds with Elite Manaspas is probably going to make sure those Cavaliers go bye-bye very soon. I don't know that Hera really has the resources left. He does have trash, has a little bit of gold over here, 500 gold to be exact. I don't really see any more gold anywhere out on the map except, never mind, right here. So Hera's got 1,150 gold left to mine. Yeah, he could have probably stuck around a little bit more. Who's kidding who? His relics are safe. He's got 2 to the 2 of Mr. Yo. There's interestingly a relic here that Hera didn't take. But I feel like maybe Hera was looking at the score. And sometimes the pro players look at the score in the late stage of the game and say, okay, you're a little bit too far ahead. And I tried to destroy your economy. I tried to destroy your ability to create an army. And unfortunately, you just created a big old army of Manaspas. And maybe Hera wasn't expecting Mysterio to show up with a dozen Manaspas. Although, what's a dozen Manaspas? Like we saw the Cavalier, the much better unit. And so perhaps psychologically, he thought he got so much damage done that at the end of the day, showing up with a powerful army, just a bit too much for our Khmer. And he doesn't know what we know, that in 47 seconds, Mysterio is going to have fully upgraded elite Manaspas, and then the fun really starts. Yeah, then the fun really begins for the Georgians and their HP regenerating cavalry, which, by the way, now Capture Age does show. You see the 15 with the heart plus on it. That's pretty cool. So Hera's running out of gold, and more important, like I said, no real answer to the trebuchets, which are just going to keep gunning down his infrastructure. Now, Mysterio is also broke as a joke, actually has fewer resources across the board, with the exception of stone. But what are you going to do with more stone? Plop down another castle? Where could you even plop it? Maybe this location? I'm just trying to figure out why Hera GG'd at this point. Like I said, I thought we would get to see a big battle here between these two decent armies. Halberdier zones out the Cavalier. Skirmisher zones out the Halberdier. Manaspa versus Cavalier. 12 versus 10. Actually, let's compare the HP and see who would have... Yeah, the Manaspas have more HP, but again, they need a lot more attacks. They need, what do we say, 3 more attacks, 12 to the 9, to kill your opposing unit. So I don't actually know who wins that battle. In any event, if this battle were to happen, whoever wins, the bottom line, they don't win with a lot of units. They're going to have either 2 or 3 units left, whether it's 2 or 3 Manaspas or 2 or 3 Cavaliers. And that's assuming the Halberdiers don't join into the fight, right? So I think Hera realized this battle doesn't go well for anybody here. And if it doesn't go well for anybody, the only army he's got left are skirmishers. And even though he just invested in, like we saw, chemistry and bracer, just no longevity to that army. And again, no way to deal with those giant building destroying units that we call trebs. Halberdiers at the end of the day were the most produced by just a little bit, a baker's dozen compared to the Manaspa, Cavalier, Hussar, and Monk. So it's a little unfortunate that Hera managed to get his Hussar upgrade right towards the end. What we saw about 2 minutes ago. How many villagers did he have on food right before GGing? Only 18. Really? So he was transitioning in a huge way to wood, 56. So he can get out those skirmishers. And then I guess he, you know what, maybe that's why. How many stables does he have? 3 stables. Okay, so he got the Hussar upgrade. He has 3 stables and enough food for 2 Hussars. And yeah, now the picture is becoming a little bit more clear. Although like I said, I would have wanted to see a decent battle here. Let's take a look at the stats. Peak APM for Mysterio. Beginning of the game, peak APM just over the 200 mark for Hera, about 15 minutes after his opponent. Now, this is going to be interesting because for the longest time, Mr. Yo had a much bigger economy. Then he got gutted. Look at this red line just dropping like a rock as Hera climbs. And then they ended the game. Look at that, literally identical. But Mr. Yo, about a 10% bigger economy. Relic's not really playing a role, basically identical. Trash resources to our Georgian, scarce resources to our... Or rather, trash to the Georgians, scarce to the Khmer. So interesting that not that big of a difference. Mysterio had a huge economic lead for a very long time. I'm really surprised it's only about 10%. 29 conversions out of 249 is about 12, 13% of the Georgian army being converted, buildings destroyed, not the end of the world. And let's take a look at the kill count, 77 villagers to 44. So after that attack to the rear of Mysterio's base and the attack to the rear of Hera's base, doesn't seem like there have been many villager kills since. Although never say never. Like I said, the Manaspa is a fast-moving unit, and Hera at the end of the day does get about 63 more kills than his opponent. But like we saw, perhaps the transition, yeah, maybe Hera was trying to do a little too much, you know, all at the same time to get out first of all, to get out the infrastructure to build skirmishers, to get the upgrades for the skirmishers, and then to start pumping out skirmishers or 3 steps, then to get the Hussar. And to spam out of 3 stables is not exactly a spam. Let's call it spam light or diet spam. And I think he realized that his allocation went a little bit too much onto wood, and he can't really put out the Hussar spam. Because believe me, if you were to ask Hera, I'm like 99% sure right now, if he had a wish list for this game, it would be the ability to insert 5 Hussars into here, 10 Hussars into here, and then catch reinforcements with another group of Hussars like Hera likes to do. But unfortunately, Mr. Yo just pressing into him a little bit too much and a little bit too powerfully, even though confusingly isolated and solitary Treb to the north. Not sure where you're headed, maybe to kill the market. But the Trebs have no answer, and because of that, Hera just is unable. He might, like I said, take this fight. Probably won't with the Halberdiers, but even if he takes this fight, even if he wins this fight, like I suspect he'll have 1, 2, or 3 cavaliers left, and 1, 2, or 3 cavaliers is not going to do anything to stop the tide of these halberdiers out of 6 barracks, and Mr. Yo just pummeling Hera right from the very beginning, even though not the biggest fan of how he used the Manaspas in terms of sending out little clumps of 5, 6, 7 over here, 5, 6, 7, a few of them to the back, just kept Hera occupied while he built up his settlement. And even though he took a massive amount of damage, recovered quite well because his settlement was so durable and so much well defended with those, how many? 5 fortified churches. Well, there you go. Mr. Yo's economy is all on Pervidin right now. They are just roided to the 9s. They are cracked out and they are working 10% faster. And that is all she wrote. Mr. Yo with the Manaspas and the Halb switch to counter the heavy cavalry of his opponent takes the W, but GG in a really fun game to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.